If you've ever wondered why some retirees run out of money and others don't, despite starting with similar balances, a lot of the answer comes down to something most people never think about: the order they actually draw their money from. Not how much they've got, not even how it's invested, the order. Draw from the wrong place at the wrong time, especially early in retirement, and you can turn a temporary market dip into a permanent dent in the plan. Get the order right, and the same market dip barely touches you. Working out the right order for your own situation is exactly the kind of thing I help people structure properly. There's a link below if that's useful. But let me show you why the order matters so much first. I've been running my own advice practice since 2019, and structuring the drawdown order properly is one of the most consequential things I do for clients. Far more than most people expect going in. Here's the problem in plain terms. Say the market drops 20% in your first year of retirement. If you're drawing that year's income straight out of your growth investments, you're locking in that loss. You're selling low to fund your lifestyle, and that money never gets the chance to recover. But if that year's income is coming from cash you'd already set aside, the 20% drop doesn't touch your spending at all. Your growth investments just sit there and recover when the market does. Same market, same drop, completely different outcome, purely because of where the money came from. So what does getting this right actually look like? There's no single formula. It depends on your situation, but the general shape tends to look something like this. A cash buffer, usually a year or two of spending, that you draw from first, no matter what the market's doing. That buffer is what protects you in a bad year. While it's covering your spending, your growth assets are left alone to do their job. Behind that, other investments held outside super, which you can be drawn on once the buffer's used, or in good years to top it back up. And behind that, the growth component, shares, property, the part of the portfolio that's actually meant to grow over decades, not fund next month's spending. Cash buffer first, other investments next, growth assets last. Not because one's more important than the other, because each one's doing a different job, on a different time frame. And this matters more in the first few years than at any other point, because a downturn later on, once you've had years of growth behind you, is far easier to absorb. But a downturn right at the start, before the portfolio's had any time to build a buffer of its own, does the most damage, if you're drawing from the wrong place. This is exactly why the shape of your spending and the size of the gap you need to fund early on matter so much. The order isn't just a technical detail, it's what actually protects everything else you've already thought through. So if there's one thing to take from this, it's this. It's not just about how much you've saved, or even how it's invested. It's about which pot you draw from and when. Get that order right, and a bad year in the market becomes something you barely notice, instead of something that changes your plan. This is general in nature, so it's important to consider your own situation, because the right structure will be different for everyone. Now, once your money's structured properly and protected from the ups and the downs, there's a different question worth asking. All of this planning is in service of something, a retirement you actually feel good about. But what does that actually mean? Is it happiness you're chasing or something else entirely? That's what this next video is about. If you'd like help structuring your own drawdown order properly, so a bad year in the market doesn't derail the plan, I work with Australians approaching retirement in exactly this position. You can find details below.